temper. And all because of a single marshmallow?
And all because of a single marshmallow?
In fact, Goldman explains it's all because of a lone neuron in the brain.
In fact, Gordon explained it's all because of a lone neuron in the brain.
Only recently discovered that bypasses the neocortex.
Only recently discovered that bypasses the neocortex,
The area of the brain where rational decisions are made.
the area of the brain where rational decisions are made,
And goes straight to the amygdala, or emotional center of the brain.
and goes straight to the amygdala or emotional center of the brain.
It is here that quicker, more primitive fight or flight responses occur.
It is here that quicker, more primitive fight or flight responses occurred
And are stored for future use.
and are stored for future use.
The more that emotional memories involving temper, frustration, anxiety, depression, impulse, and fear
The more that emotional memories involve temper, frustration, anxiety, depression, impulse, and fear
pile up in early adolescence,
pile up in early adolescence,
the more the amygdala can hijack the rest of the brain.
the more the amygdala can hijack the rest of the brain,
Goldman says, by flooding it with strong and inappropriate emotions.
Golden says, by flooding it with strong and inappropriate emotions,
Causing us to wonder later,
causing us to wonder later,
why did I overreact?
why did I overreact?
But if the emotions stored in the brain are those of restraint, self-awareness, self-regulation, self-motivation, empathy, hope, and optimism,
But the emotions stored in the brain are those of restraint, self-awareness, self-regulation, self-motivation, empathy, hope, and optimism,
then we become endowed with an emotional intelligence.
then we become endowed with an emotional intelligence
That serves rather than enslaves us for the rest of our lives.
that serves rather than enslave us for the rest of our life.
But I think the book also points out the real strength in what has been a feminine preserve in this culture.
But I think the book, but I think the book, but I think the book also points out the real strength that in what has been a feminine preserve in this culture.
Claims Goldman. Girls are raised to be emotionally astute and perceptive.
Claim Goldman, girls are raised to be emotionally astute and perceptive,
But sons learn little about emotions except how to control anger.
but sons learn little about emotions except how to control anger.
Women are absolutely more empathetic than men on average.
Women are absolutely more emphatic than men on average. On average,
But they felt powerless to bring up the idea of emotions as a serious topic.
but they felt powerless to bring up the idea of emotions as a serious topic.
The irony Goldman feels is that
The irony Golden feels,
if he had written a book about women and emotions, school reform, emotion based leadership in business, or child psychology,
is that if he had written a book about women and emotions, school reform, emotion-based leadership in business, or child psychology,
the book wouldn't have gotten much attention.
the book wouldn't have gotten much attention.
As it happens, this is a book about all those things. But women and children and school reform are marginalized in this society.
As it happens, this is a book about all those things, but women and children and school reform are marginalized in this society.
So I come along with a lot of scientific data that says, hey,
So I come along with a lot of scientific data that says,
this stuff is consequential, and maybe some doors are opening in our society.
hey, this stuff is consequential, and maybe some doors are opening in our society.